And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gents. This is about Casanova from Orlando, Florida, on this awesome international podcast, Good Wine and Great Laughs, the podcast for wine lovers, ladies and gents, summer movies reviews and hot topic discussion, ladies and gents. I am Casanova, your homeboy. If you are new to my YouTube channel, what I do here every week, I have the wine of the day, ladies and gents. Shortly, I'm going to open this wine right here. I'm going to taste it. I'm going to give some information about this wine, and I'm going to let you know what I think about this wine. Okay, and then follow that. You're going to have the topic of the day. The topic of the day, ladies and gents, are always topics that can affect our lives directly or indirectly, ladies and gents. And during the summertime, I take a break from hot topics, and during the months of June and July, what I do movies reviews. So any movies that come into the movie theaters, Netflix, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, I select one movie a week, watch it, and then I give my review. So if you love wine, summer movies reviews, and hot topic discussions, ladies and gents, this YouTube channel is for you. If you like the work that I do, ladies and gents, I'll ask only three things. Please subscribe, click on the like button on any video that you watch, and share any video that you watch from this YouTube channel with at least 5 people you know. I appreciate your support. All right, ladies and gents. And normally, like I say, my podcast comes on Saturday, but because this is the last episode of the season, episode 20, season 11, episode 20, and because I'm going to be very busy by the end of the week, so I'm doing this podcast today, this Wednesday. All right. So today is Wednesday, December 17th, and the weather here in Orlando is going to be with the cloudy skies. Highs of 76 and lows of 61 degrees, ladies and gents. So before I start talking about the topic of the day, let's talk about the wine of the day, ladies and gents. I'm going to close this season with the wine from Florida, from this place called the Lake Ridge Winery. It's called the SUNBLUSH. It's a premium rosé wine, ladies and gents. If you live in Florida, or if you visit the Florida, Orlando area, if you have opportunity to go to this winery, is awesome, especially on Saturdays. Now, I went there, I believe was right after COVID or before COVID, one of these two times. And they have, on Saturdays, they have the wine tasting, and after finish, you can go explore the vineyards, or if you like, they have some outside, they have some music playing and some food, some vendors over there that can drink some wine, eat some food, listen to some music. Now bring a chair and sit down under the trees. Nice and breezy. It's a very, very nice, good place to go to. So once again, Lake Ridge Winery and Vineyards. So say this wine is from here, Florida, and say the SUNBLUSH. A delicate pink hue offers flavorful intensity and concentration of bouquet, while remaining cheerfully light-bodied and refreshing. Try it with a wide variety of finger foods, nice dishes, and pasta. Alcohol percent of this wine is 11% alcohol, ladies and gents. And the picture of this wine bottle is going to be available on all my social medias that you can see here on the screen. When I went to the winery, ladies and gents, I tasted this wine, but I never had this wine here on the podcast. So, first time for everything. SUNBLUSH. Supreme Rosé. This is a very, very good rosé. Delicious. There is a hint of sweetness at the end of my palate that I like it. Not too sweet, not overbearing. Very refreshing. Very crispy taste. Definitely recommend it. Also choice for you on a nice, beautiful evening night for you to have with yourself or family friends. All right. Okay, ladies and gents, let's talk about season 11, episode 20, the finale. Let's talk about the Bondi Beach shooting in Australia, ladies and gents. Another one, but this not happened in the United States. So if you didn't hear about it, I'm going to play about 3 videos, and I would like to give credits to BBC News and 7 News Australia. We're going to talk about what happened and the aftermath of that terrible shooting. There's always some crazy people out there, ladies and gents. So, and after you watch these videos, I come back with my 2 cents about what I think about today's topic. So, it is showtime. Before I play the first video, I make a mistake. The pronunciation of the beach is Bondi Beach, not Bondi Beach, as I thought. But here we go, the correction. Bondi Beach in Australia.
It is Australia's worst mass shooting in nearly 30 years after 15 people died, including a 10-year-old girl, during celebrations for a Jewish festival in Sydney. 40 others remain in hospital. Now, it happened at Bondi Beach at a gathering marking the beginning of Hanukkah. Police say it was a terrorist attack. Tonight, we have a clearer picture of what happened from video footage filmed by bystanders and verified by the BBC. It shows 2 gunmen firing indiscriminately from a small bridge towards a park and beach area. One of the men then leaves but keeps firing. As the violence continues, a bystander tackles the gunman, grabbing his weapon. He's now been hailed a hero and named locally as Ahmed Al-Ahmed. Other bystanders step in to help. Well, one of the gunmen was later killed, and the second suspect is now in a critical condition in hospital. We'll bring you reaction from around the world, including here in the UK. But first, Katie Watson has our top story tonight from Bondi Beach. Her report contains some distressing scenes.
Horror on Bondi, an unimaginable scene on Australia's most famous beach. People running, but from what? At this point, few understood what was unfolding.
I went to the window and I just saw a guy in a white car on top of it, letting off shots going off. And then there was an older lady who was on the right-hand side of the pathway who was put down. So I saw her go down, and I saw a guy on the left-hand side go down.
And it was like a grandma, she was bleeding a lot. And then like a lot of people, they've been crying. Some people, they became white as well. And yeah, I feel very sad for the Jewish community because it was like a party for them.
The 2 gunmen were father and son, indiscriminately targeting what was meant to be a family celebration of Hanukkah. Some 1,000 people enjoying the Jewish festival of lights in a small park overlooking the water. After a long standoff with police, the father was shot dead, his son seriously injured. He's been named by local media as 24-year-old Naveed Akram from Bonnyrigg in Sydney's southwest. The weapons used in the shooting were licensed to the older gunman.
We are satisfied that we have 6 firearms from the scene yesterday, but also as a result of the search warrant at the Campsie address. Ballistics and forensic investigation will determine this morning that those 6 firearms are the 6 that were licensed to that man, but also that they were used in the offence yesterday at Bondi.
These are confronting scenes in a country that prides itself on its low rates of violent crime. A sunny Sunday at the beach turned into a nightmare. Local Bondi residents desperately trying to save people's lives. Victims as young as 10, as old as 87. Among those who died, London-born rabbi Eli Schlanger, a father of 5 who worked at a Jewish cultural centre in Bondi.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations.
Most people ran when the shots rang out. This man didn't, and he's been hailed a hero. Named locally as Ahmed Al-Ahmed, he made the brave decision to pounce on the gunman from behind, wrestling the weapon off him and making it clear to police he had nothing to do with the 2 men. Then, another bystander, showing his fury at what had just happened.
Thank you to innocent bystanders and civilians who stood up, risked their own lives to save other people's lives. This is a terrible, wanton act of destructive violence, but there are still amazing people that we have in Australia, and they showed their true colours last night.
Throughout the night, police worked hard to secure the scene. An explosive device was removed from a car thought to be one of the gunmen's. That is no longer a threat.
There were 2 improvised explosive devices found at the scene. They were taken by our rescue and bomb disposal unit. They were found to be active devices, so they were taken back and rendered safe by our police, who do a professional job.
But this is a country in shock. Mass shootings rarely happen here, and in Bondi too, a beach that defines Sydney, this laid-back and safe city that people are so proud of. Australians are in utter disbelief something like this has happened. Katie Watson, BBC News in Bondi.
We'll have more from Katie in a moment, but much of the attack was filmed by onlookers and reveals a sequence of horrifying events. Joe Inwood's report contains some distressing scenes.
This is the earliest footage we have of the gunman. It's not clear how soon after the attack started they began filming, but it captures the rest of the event. It takes place on Campbell Parade at the northern end of Bondi Beach. Both men are standing on this bridge, firing down into this area of parkland where the Hanukkah festival was taking place. About 30 seconds after this footage starts, one of the men, the one in white trousers, moves off the bridge to take up a position around here, from where he can fire at point-blank range at the crowds. 2 minutes and 50 seconds after the video begins, we have the extraordinary moment when a passerby decides to tackle him.
Oh!
He disarms him and gets him to back off, before eventually laying down the weapon and taking cover behind the tree. 60 seconds after he was disarmed, the man in white trousers is back on the bridge and firing with a different weapon. We then see the moment, 30 seconds after that, when he is shot.
He should have shot that man at least in the leg, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? Let the man go, and now he got another weapon, start shooting again. Moving forward.
The second man, the one in black trousers, continues firing in both directions for another minute and a half before he too is shot.
Yeah, they got him.
At this point, we see a couple of people who appear to be members of the public approach them. Another shot is then fired. It's not clear where from, but it seems to be aimed at the man who has just arrived. You hear the person filming shout, "Wow, stop, no, stop!" presumably concerned someone who was trying to help, may be confused as an attacker. Eventually, 7.5 minutes after this footage began, police make it onto the bridge, where they find one attacker dead and another critically wounded.
Joe Inwood reporting there. Let's rejoin Katie at Bondi Beach. Have police, Katie, been saying any more about what they knew about the suspects?
Yeah, well, on Sunday evening, the police said that one of the gunmen was known, but not from an immediate threat perspective. And they updated that earlier today, saying that the older gunman did have a firearms license for several years, but there were no incidents, and it was all registered. But no doubt they are going through the run-up to this attack, the worst in 30 years here in Australia. And the mood here, you can see behind me the bridge where the attack took place. It's all cordoned off. People have been laying flowers this morning. This could have happened here in Bondi.
All right, Katie, thank you. Katie Watson there at Bondi Beach. Well, there's been reaction from around the world to events in Sydney. Donald Trump described the attack as purely anti-Semitic. King Charles said both he and the Queen are appalled and saddened. And Sir Keir Starmer says police here will increase patrols around synagogues and in Jewish communities as Hanukkah celebrations continue. The family of the British-born rabbi who died in the attack, Eli Schlanger, describe him as a caring man who loved helping people. Here's Lucy Manning.
The message of Hanukkah is that there is light even in the darkest of times. So in London and across the UK, the Jewish Festival of Lights was celebrated amidst the darkness of a deadly anti-Semitic attack. Just last Hanukkah, London-born Rabbi Eli Schlanger was celebrating Hanukkah in his own joyful way. The best response to anti-Semitism, he said. His British family told the BBC people should spread light in his memory.
Eli was a really wonderful, warm, caring, vivacious, energetic, outgoing guy who loved people, loved doing good, and loved caring for other people. I know this is what Eli would be saying. Go and do good things.
In North London and at other Hanukkah events, there was an increased police presence. Hani went to school with Rabbi Schlanger.
He was a father. He had a 2-month-old baby, 40 years old, in the prime of his life, taken by cold murderers.
How are the community feeling on the first night of Hanukkah with
We are reeling in pain, but we are going around, carrying on to make the world a bigger and better place, bringing acts of goodness, acts of light.
The Jewish community is still determined to celebrate its festivals, but there is some increasing fear with rising anti-Semitism. 3 Jewish festivals and 3 deadly attacks. Hanukkah in Bondi Beach, Yom Kippur 2 months ago in Manchester, and Simchat Torah in Israel on October the 7th.
As the Prime Minister lit Hanukkah candles with his wife, who is Jewish, he said in a social media post that the anti-Semitic terrorist attack against Jewish families was sickening. Rabbi Schlanger had, like many Jews and the Israeli government, criticised the Australian government's response to rising violent attacks against the community there.
Your government did nothing to stop the spread of anti-Semitism in Australia. You did nothing to curb the cancer cells that were growing inside your country. You took no action. You let the disease spread. And the result is the horrific attacks on Jews we saw today.
President Trump told the Jewish world they should still celebrate Hanukkah proudly.
But to Australia and the Prime Minister, to everybody that we know so well, we get along with so well, we have a great relationship. That's a terrible situation going on over there. Think of that.
Hanukkah is the story of the survival of the Jewish religion. And yet, on the first day of this festival, people were again murdered just because they were Jews. Lucy Manning, BBC News.
This is 7 News with Michael Usher.
Good afternoon, live from Bondi Beach this Tuesday. I'm Michael Usher with you again for special coverage from 7 News. Behind me, here at the pavilion, a steady stream again of mourners adding to that incredible makeshift floral shrine, pausing in prayer, some in song and some silence, a lot of tears, of course, for the lives lost in Sunday's terror attack. This is a city that is certainly struggling to process a wide range of emotions, a mix of emotions. There is, of course, unbearable grief. There's heartbreak. There's some fear still, and some rising anger. So throughout this hour, we'll bring you the latest facts, everything we know about the tragedy that played out here, this iconic Australian landmark that's certainly been changed forever. Guiding us through today's developments is our team of reporters standing by live in all the key locations across Sydney. We'll also have the rest of today's headlines from across the country, but first, let's have an update on the 15 confirmed victims. They are 82-year-old Marika Pogany, identified as the 9th person who was killed. 10-year-old Matilda, the youngest, was enjoying Hanukkah celebrations with her younger sister and her dad. 87-year-old Holocaust survivor Alex Kleitman is the oldest. Rabbis Eli Schlanger and Yaakov Levitam. There's Tibor Weitzam, who died trying to shield his wife, and retired veteran police officer Peter Marr. 27-year-old French engineer Dan El-Kayam, businessman and philanthropist Reuven Morrison. They're the ones identified so far. 25 people remain in hospitals across Sydney where they're being treated for a varying degree of injuries. 6 of them are in critical conditions. Now, among the hurt, the hero Ahmed Al-Ahmed, who received a visit from the New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns, last night. And Constable Scott Dyson and his colleague, probationary constable Jack Hibbert, who was shot while responding to the atrocity. Now, we'll have a full report on their conditions in just a moment. Certainly, now, it's been revealed the killer's father and son made a trip to an ISIS hotspot in the Philippines and only returned, we understand, in the last fortnight. 50-year-old Sajid Akram and his 24-year-old son Naveed Akram spent a month overseas together. The pair came back, hired an Airbnb, and lied to the rest of their family about going on a fishing trip before carrying out their shooting spree. Now, our reporter will bring you all the new details shortly on that. But gun ownership laws will be tightened after the country's worst mass shooting since Port Arthur. The New South Wales Parliament will be recalled from its Christmas break to discuss the reforms. The Prime Minister is promising to strengthen legislation after a meeting of National Cabinet late yesterday afternoon. Our leaders are going to look at new limits and a review of licences. We'll have all the reaction from Canberra coming up as well. And blood banks have reopened their doors for desperately needed donations. Yesterday, more than 50,000 appointments, quite extraordinary, were booked in 24 hours. That is double the previous record. 7,800 people actually rolled up their sleeves on Monday. The centres were overwhelmed by generous Australians. Lifeblood is encouraging all of us to look online for a spot. So please keep being generous in that. It's desperately needed. We begin this hour with breaking news, and this is quite extraordinary. Chilling new dash cam of 2 heroes who tried to stop one of the gunmen before he joined the rampage. Chief reporter Chris Reason is across this development, joins me now. Chris, what do we see?
Good afternoon to you, Michael. Well, this truly is an extraordinary development. The pictures are as heartbreaking as they are confronting, but the story needs to be told. You can see behind me the pedestrian bridge where the gunman sat on Sunday afternoon firing off those shots at the assembly of Jewish people. But just before that outbreak of shooting began, we have a moment captured on dashcam video by a driver coming down here, Campbell Parade. We'll play it for you now. On that dashcam video, you can see that what appears to have been the 2 gunmen have just parked their car, that silver grey Hyundai Elantra, on the side of the road, and they've just got out of the car with their guns, with their ammunition. They're confronted by 2 people. One, an older gentleman who seems to have challenged the older of the 2 shooters, the father, Sajid Akram. They've got into a bit of a struggle. You can see on that video there that somehow the older gentleman has managed to get that gun, that long arm rifle, off the gunman. The car then moves beyond the shot, but we're looking now at other shots and other information that we have. It appears that then that gunman, the older gunman, Sajid, has had a second weapon and turned it on that heroic bystander and taken his life, and also the woman, the female that was with him there. The two of them later seen, their bodies beside that Hyundai car. Now, the car, we can show you this video again and again, but it clearly looks, and this is assumption, we're going to put this to the police commissioner at a press conference in a short time from now, Michael, to confirm this, but it looks as though these people have realised what's about to happen and they've taken the extraordinary step, the heroic step of challenging the gunman and getting that gun off them.
Goodness me, Chris, just when we think we've seen it all in this story, now we have this revelation. So we're, just to underscore what you're saying, we're believing that this is at the very beginning, perhaps before it all began, and those two heroes were very quick to try and do something, but unfortunately it's cost their lives. Is that right?
Ended in their lives lost, exactly, Michael. I mean, we believe, and we're waiting to have this confirmed, but this looks as though this has happened before the first shot has even been fired. The son of the two of them, Naveed, isn't in that video. It looks like he has moved ahead, potentially already taking his position on top of that pedestrian walkway. It's just the Sajid, the father, who is having this fight with the two heroic bystanders. The car moves on, the dash cam moves on, and we don't see how that finalises in that video, but we can tell from others that somehow that Sajid had that second weapon, and it looks like he's then turned it on that bystander, shot him, and also shot the woman who was with him that day on the footpath. Now, that gun that the man, the heroic bystander, managed to wrestle from the gunman was later seen in video still beside the bystander, beside his body on the footpath here behind me. And you can also see, I should note, from that dashcam video that in the windscreen of the car, the Hyundai, is the black Shahada flag that's been seized by ISIS groups and terror organisations across the world. And that clearly can be seen hanging up in that front windscreen.
Yeah. All right, Chris, that's quite extraordinary. I know you're going to be asking the authorities a lot of questions about this today, and our love and support for the families of those two people that tried to do their best early on. Chris Reason there, thank you very much.
This morning, a sea of flowers to honour the Bondi terror attack victims. Vigils around the world. 15 innocent people enjoying a Sunday at the beach shot down in cold blood. The mission to keep their memory alive. Sinister new details about the two shooters. We have the latest on the father and son gunmen. Remarkably, this brave hero ran towards danger, tackling evil head-on. He's captured hearts all over the world.
Live across Australia, this is Sunrise Early News.
Good morning and welcome to our special coverage of the horrific Bondi terror attack. Bondi Beach is being showered in flowers and tributes, heartfelt messages paying respect to the 15 innocent victims of a merciless shooting massacre. Nat Barr is there this morning. Nat, it's an incredible scene behind you. Those flowers continue to grow.
Yeah, Sally, good morning to everyone. A day and a half on from the horrors here on Sunday night. The floral tributes are growing. There's a lot of love being spread here. I'm going to get our cameraman Nathan to zoom in to show you. It's a bit windy and the smell of these floral tributes, it's actually quite beautiful. So many people have sent them. There are hundreds growing, and there are also messages. Chasing hate in any way never made us safer, says one. Choosing to love in every way makes us unstoppable. A little message written on one of the blooms is to Matilda, of course, the little 10-year-old who lost her life. That's written in paper on one of the bunches. There is an Australian flag, a Jewish flag. There's a wreath. There are so many candles. With love from the Green family on the south coast, says another one. It's a beautiful scene. We've just now seen paramedics stand, as you can see, silently paying their respects to those who fell here in that horror on Sunday night that we have all seen. Many people are coming here. They've been coming here for the last day and a half and shedding tears, some just breaking down, kneeling down, and obviously it's the most horrible thing to deal with for many people. Some people speaking yesterday, wanting to say, some people singing, and that will continue as the days go on. Well, as victims recover in hospitals across Sydney, we've got reporters standing by to capture the national response to this tragedy. First to Weekend Sunrise presenter David Woywood, who is in Bondi. David, the outpouring of grief for the victims has been amazing, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's really been incredible, Nat, and we are starting to learn many of those names and those faces now. You just mentioned her there, 10-year-old Matilda. She, of course, is among the dead. She was down here with her family. There have been so many tributes for her. She was taking part in those Hanukkah celebrations down here at Bondi Beach. There was the Bondi rabbi, Eli Schlanger, as well, and those tributes, they have been flowing. We have heard from very senior members of the Jewish community here in Sydney. He was an instrumental part of that. We know that French engineer Dan Al-Qaim, he was a very kind man according to his friends, and he loved his soccer. He was loving his life here in Australia, but very sadly has been caught up in this tragedy. There was the devoted husband as well. He had tried to shield his wife. Very sadly, she has survived, but very sadly he has died. There was another rabbi, Yarov Levitin, as well. There was the businessman and philanthropist, Reuben Morrison. He was also an assistant at the local synagogue. The 87-year-old Holocaust survivor, if you can believe it as well. He had been down here. He had survived the atrocities of the Second World War, and then he has found himself in Bondi only to die at the hands of these madmen who have opened fire on Sunday afternoon, very sadly there. His wife, though, has also survived. And then there was the retired police officer too, Peter Marr. He was a keen photographer in his spare time and in his retirement, an instrumental part of a local rugby team here as well. So yeah, we are starting to learn so much more about the stories behind those faces as we try to come to terms with what has happened down here on Bondi in the past few days here, Nat.
Yeah, and so many people coming up to us, especially after we got off air yesterday, and coming up in tears and wanting a hug and saying, I've just learned that I know someone who has died, or I know someone who is severely injured. That's the tragedy, isn't it? It just filters right through Australia. Let's go live now to Liam Tapper in Surrey Hills. Liam, what more have we learned about the gunman?
Morning, Nat. Well, we've learned quite a bit about the background of these two gunmen, Naveed Akram and his father, Sajid Akram. We understand that they went to the Philippines in the lead-up to that deadly terror attack on Sunday afternoon. Now, the Philippines has fast become a real hotbed for developing jihadis and terror cells, because back in the 90s, they moved away from Pakistan, Afghanistan, and they went into Southeast Asia, and southern Philippines has really become one of the breeding grounds for these incels, particularly ISIS. Now, it's understood that the father and son, they had travelled to the Philippines and spent some time to try and refine their skills before they took out that deadly attack at Bondi. On top of this, an ISIS flag was said to be found in the car that the father and son travelled to Bondi on Sunday. The ISIS flag has now been taken away as part of evidence. It's going to be part of this ongoing large-scale joint counter-terrorism investigation that is being carried out right now. It's an intricate investigation now, and many people this morning are going to be asking about charges. Has Naveed been charged with anything? But speaking with federal police contacts last night, they say that this is very complex. There's a number of elements that we need to go through first. Of course, there's the critical incident, which is going to be investigated by New South Wales Police. The officer shot the father, so that's going to be investigated. There's the terrorism element, which is going to be investigated, led by New South Wales Dallas Police, but of course with ASIO, the AFP. And then there's also the charges, which will be the homicide charges after those 15 innocent people were killed. So there is so much still to go through, but we're going to be learning more about the background of this 24-year-old killer. He was apparently self-radicalised, but also he was on the ASIO watch list back in 2019, but was taken off it, we understand, because he didn't meet a threshold to be deemed as a genuine threat. So certainly a lot of questions are going to be asked, no doubt, of our government as to why these two men slipped through the cracks. Now, plenty of questions that Australians really want answers to.
Yeah, lots of questions about gun laws too this morning. Thank you, Liam. Live now to Georgia Holland in our Canberra bureau. Georgia, this has prompted major gun reform.
It has, Nat. Australia already has some of the strictest gun laws in the world, and after the violence at Bondi, leaders say they're about to go even further. Specific reforms are yet to be confirmed, but changes could include a limit on how many firearms an individual can own, restricting certain types of weapons and modifications, and only allowing Australian citizens to hold a gun licence. Leaders will also look to update the National Firearms Agreement, which was first established after the Port Arthur massacre nearly 30 years ago. Walter Meekak, who lost his wife and children at Port Arthur, now he says this is a horrific reminder of the need to stay vigilant and of the importance of ensuring our gun laws continue to protect the safety of all Australians. National Cabinet also pledged yesterday to eradicate anti-Semitism, hate, violence and terrorism. Nat?
Yes, because there is growing anger, especially down here on the ground at Bondi, about possible failures of the government along those lines. Thank you very much to our reporters on the ground. We'll throw it back to you in the studio, Sally.
All right, thank you very much, Nat.
And ladies and gents, as you watch with me the three videos right here, unfortunately there's a very, very situation that happened in Bondi Beach in Australia. And got a few things to say about that, especially here in America. That is like the #1 place of mass shootings. You have so many over here that now the people in America is just like is very insensitive, just like a car accident. You know, boom, here another car accident. You know, happens all the time. Just like boom, another shooting. It happened. To me, this also has something to do with copycats. You know, so much things, everything's available on the social medias and all that. And then one thing I did not know about the Philippines that become safe havens for jihads and all these radical terrorists. I did not know that until I watched this video. And it is sad. It's really, really sad. Now, there are a couple of things also that is going on. And I'm not saying that one thing justify another. Like, make this clear before somebody be in my comments and then, oh yeah, you're wrong. I'm not saying that. But I believe this what's going on. And like I say, it does not justify that shooting in Bondi Beach. But also, you need to find out more details about the background of these two individuals, the father and the son. You know, because they could be mad about the occupation of the Israelis in Palestine. That could be. And once again, it does not justify that what Israel is doing against Palestine, the other peoples, all the Jews around the world, they are basically innocent. They are celebrating their own holidays. You know, now what they thought about, like I said, it does not justify that they use that situation that happened in the Palestine to go ahead and shooting people that are celebrating their own holiday. It does not justify it. Now, 15 people so far has been killed. Now, the second video that I showed you, I don't know if within the 15 people, I would guess that the two people that was caught, no, there's no details about it. And it could be included that the 15 people that has been identified so far, the two people that when they are getting out the car, they attacked their husband and wife. or it could be a total of 17. The report does not specify that, and I say it in the middle. So the guy that tackled the father, he should have shot at least the man in the leg. Close, bam. I would shoot him that because I was behind the tree. The sun was not seeing me. I have the protection of the tree that could have, or if I did not shoot him, I would hit that man in the head with the rifle to neutralize him. Now he gave a chance for the old man, the father, to run back to the bridge and probably got another weapon and start shooting. It's crazy. You live in a terrible, terrible society, but the good things about it is what Australia is doing on tightening the gun laws. In America, there's a lot of people, especially the white people, related to, my Second Amendment, everything is my religion, my Second Amendment. Personally, even though I served in the military, United States Army, I served in the military in Brazil, I was a Marine, but to me, it's okay. You want to have a Second Amendment? Not a problem. But you should have a limitation of what type of weapon. You should have only a 9mm for you to have your gun, for you to protect yourself. And if you live in the farm or any mountains that would like to go hunting, participate in the hunt season, you should be now allowed to purchase one rifle for hunting purpose only. So if you live in that type of area in the country, you should have two weapons, one 9mm for your personal protection, your home protection, and one rifle for your hunting, and that's it. All this weapon of mass destruction that's available for the military, it should not be available for the regular public. We should not. I don't care how you feel, boo-hoo. I don't care about your feelings right now, because this is not for the military. You want to use this type of weapon, join the military. How about that? And then you have access to this type of weapon. As a civilian, no civilian should have the possibility to purchase these weapons. But we live in America, everything's about money. No, the NRA giving money to politicians, they're going to do everything. Just like in Florida here now, all we need to have to get a weapon. If you can you breathe, you can get a weapon. And now this stupid ass governor now have the open carry in Florida too. So, and then hell break loose and shooting start happening, they'll all wonder why this happened? What's going on? Why this happen here? No wonder all these weapons available, all the situations that's going on in the country, people are crazy, it's a recipe for disaster, in my personal opinion. But like I say, a lot of people is still devoted to the weapons. They think they're more devoted to weapons than they're devoted to God. That's what I'm going to say. These are my 2 cents about that. Ladies and gents, I pray for the people that are there, the family members that are now, especially at the end of the year. Here comes Christmas. Here comes the New Year celebration. I think when you lose somebody in your family for the last 2 months of the year, is very, very painful. Not that if you lose somebody, family member, somebody that love during the rest of the month of the year, it's not painful. That's what I'm saying. But when it comes to the holidays, that's about family. Now I think the pain, it doubles. That's just my personal opinion. All right, ladies and gents. So this is the end of season 11, ladies and gents. I will come back. I gotta look at the calendar here quick. Let me see here. Let me see my calendar real quick. And boom, boom, calendar. Let me see here. Okie dokie. Now I'll be busy. Yes. I will come on the second Saturday of January. That's going to be January 10th, ladies and gents. Because I'll be tied up, on the 1st and the 2nd of January. And I believe I'll be busy at work on the 3rd too. So I'll be come back on season 12, episode 1 on the 2nd Saturday of January. That's going to be January 10th. Meanwhile, go ahead and watch all the episodes that you do not watch it. They'll miss it through this year and the previous years, ladies. And since 2000, you can see all my episodes in the video. If you do not find on YouTube, you can go to Spotify. You can go to Apple Podcasts and all iHeartRadio. All those episodes are going to be available for you right there. All right. So please be safe, be kind, and be blessed. I wish you and your family a blessed and great Christmas, and be safe on your New Year's celebrations. And I'll see you next year. Salute. Holla.
Pushing my rap like the push I on the block. Holding my down, sucker rappers get lost.